Okay, sawa, tuko live. Sikia. This is my game week 2 team selection, and yet it's just not about my team. I will also try to incorporate na niongele maybe other players in the same position, because siwezi assume ati squad zetu ziko the same, bro. Najua ziko different. Na tuliongea on the last video, wase wali tense, wakapanic, wakaanza kumake transfers. Tukasema ni sawa. The problem is you need to understand why you chose that team, the one that you started with. If the answers are blur on that, sidhani utaweza kumaintain stuff long term. Utakuna make 3-4 extra transfers every game week, of which if you're playing this competitively, the deduction in points are not healthy. I'm also in a head-to-head league. Nikichapwa ni lose 3 points, I make sense. Sawa. So this is my game week 2 team selection, and tutaanza with my defense. In goalkeeping I have Martinez, and the reason why I have Martinez, I'd set him up because Aston Villa don't have very bad fixtures. Na pia my keeper sub, I think ni still. Yeah. Anyway, Martinez is facing Everton at home. So Aston Villa at home, I think this should be a good fixture. He also afterwards anapatana na Burnley, and then Liverpool, then Crystal Palace, then Chelsea. So I'll also work on my goalkeeper. I'm not very sold with Onana in Man U. Mi naona hiyo game tulibatika. But let's go game week by game week. Wacha tuone vitu zina happen live. So I have Martinez on my goalkeeping. Then next in defense I have Gabriel. Now Gabriel didn't start the last game. Aliingia akanipea 1 point. Aliingia I think 80th minute akanipea 1 point. Very very boring. But I'm also going to swap him for another defender before the video isha. That's the only transfer I'm going to make. I'm just going to transfer him for Mings. Ako kwa bench yangu na aliumia na linibo, but it's okay. It only makes sense if I sub player mwenye siko sure atacheza tena, rather than subbing Gabriel, who maybe it's just a playtime thing. It's early in the season, atujui what's happening with the managers. He might get playtime, but I'm not planning to start with him for this game week. I'm going to start with the guy that I'm subbing in. Pia nilimongele in the last video if you checked it out. Now next I have Danban nilimweka for I knew nilikuwa najua fixtures za Newcastle ni ngumu, na hata mimi sifurahi kumweka kwa kikosi, but wase wangu kama wote wamededi. Mings na Ben Mee hasn't started a game, so I'm going to play Danban juu ya situation. Tena wanaenda kupatana na Man City, game ngumu. Now Newcastle are good, yes, sijakata, but they are even better at their own stadium. Kwa stadium yao wezi end up huko kwa Magpies na wanze kubonga, ni very hard. Now that they are coming to Man City, it's going to be a tough game. So hapo inabidi ni rely on an assist or a goal from him. My tall guy anaweza kaki header, anaweza assist maybe from an indirect free kick, apewe header, I square back, someone to do some things. All this is hope, but this is who I have to play with. And then next I have Trent against Bournemouth at home. Very very good fixture. Fixture, yes, Liverpool got 9 up on them on last season, but I think Bournemouth will respond on the second leg. Let me just confirm that. Liverpool against Bournemouth, I think Bournemouth were getting it 2-0 on the return leg. A solid win. Yeah, Bournemouth will win 1-0 at home at their own stadium. Of course, wanaenda tena kwa kichinji ya Liverpool, wanaenda kwa stadium ya Liverpool, so I don't expect things to be easy for them. I'm hoping for Trent to get some stats from either it's a free kick ama corners. Hapo tunaweza pata a good assist. It's likely with how they play he could get a goal. I don't know, but it feels right. Na pia sina options, and I know why I had bought Trent in the first place. Now ukicompare, mi ninge recommend ucheck out Ben Chilwell or a Chelsea defender. It could be Thiago Silva. Thiago Silva is likely to score a header from a corner, ama to just be anaweza kuwa lethal from indirect free kicks na corners. He could plug a goal, he could plug an assist. So Thiago Silva, Ben Chilwell, you can see the next 5 fixtures. They have West Ham away, and then wakona Luton at home, Nottingham at home, and then Bournemouth away. Ooh, these are good fixtures. So this is ideal for a Chelsea fan or for a Chelsea player or for a Chelsea manager. Sorry. So if you are considering someone to put in your spot, consider a Chelsea defender. Could be Reece James. I'm thinking Thiago Silva anaweza get kitu, lakini umse pia ni stubborn, sidhani utaget week in week out. And you can see Dan Burn from Newcastle. Nimewambia ni situation inabidi nicheze naye, but he is facing Man City away, Liverpool at home, Brighton away, Brentford at home, and then Sheffield away. So you can see the next 4 fixtures look tricky for this team. So otherwise ukiweza avoid Newcastle defense at this time. Hata watu wa Trippier na shukumli kwa Joa, sidhani alipata kitu yoyote. Now I'll go on to the next section, which is my midfield. Well, who do I start with? Acha nianze na Fernandes. And I talked about this on the last video. Wase walianza kutense, wakaanza kuuza Fernandes na Rashford. Bro, ni mapema. You know why you bought these guys in the first place. So for Fernandes, let me just go on this slide. He's facing Spurs at home, or Spurs away, tunaenda kwa Spurs, then Nottingham home, then Arsenal, then Brighton. From a neutral perspective, naelewa Spurs na Arsenal na Brighton zinakaa kama ni games ngumu. But uzuri Brighton, we are hosting them at our stadium. Hata kama ndio walituchapanga 4. For Man U, I think these are good fixtures. Spurs away, Nottingham and Arsenal easy ni games za Man U could turn up. But if they play the same way they play against Wolves, nah. It has to be a different team, a different play. That's what I want to see. So that's why I have Fernandes in my midfield. Tottenham away doesn't look bad. Any time ya kuplug Russia and other guys. Next, I have Saka. So for what I love about Saka, if you don't have him yet, just look at this. Sorry. Those that don't have Saka is now facing Crystal Palace away, and then they have Fulham at home, and then Man U at home, and then Everton away before we host Spurs at home, and then Bournemouth away. Hey, easy fixtures inakaa tamu. So hata wala waliuza Odegaard, I'm sorry you had to do that. That's us. Don't sell these guys. Arsenal, Martinelli, I see him doing really well. These are very promising fixtures. Kwanza venye watachangamkia imani yetu utajua. So Saka facing Crystal Palace away, and then Fulham at home, and then Man U at home. That looks like a good bag. Someone else that I'm also recommending is Luis Diaz. If it's not Luis Diaz, you can talk about Diogo Jota. Diogo Jota alipata first team playing on their first game against Chelsea. So I think this will be really ideal for them. They're facing Bournemouth, not the strongest side, not a weak side either. So Lanky can do some shit if he turns up. But Bournemouth at home, and then they're going to Newcastle away, then Aston Villa at home, then Wolves, and then West Ham. I think this looks ideal if you have a Liverpool asset at this time. So you could consider Luis Diaz, especially from Aqua Electric. Na feel nimeongea enough, nimeongea kuhusu ase, hata natumia the same adjectives, same adverbs just to give context. So these are guys that you could also watch out for. Then next in midfield, Nikona Mitoma, for obvious reasons. I think I've seen people have bought him at a high rate. Let me just confirm. Yeah. He's been selected by 38% of the managers, which is a high number. He can back that up because their fixtures look good. They're going to Wolves away, then they're going to host West Ham, and then they'll host Newcastle, and then they'll host and then Manu will host them. So these two other fixtures, Wolves away and West Ham at home, I think if you have a Brighton midfielder, which is Thomas, sidhani mmeweka kina Enciso, but if that's the case, unaweza gamble with them the next two fixtures before you change your mind. Personally, I know that I'll sell Mitoma and Trent respectively. Hivyo tu ameshikana wawili. Nitaswap Trent from say good priced, then upgrade hii base ya Mitoma ni KMC mwingine. After these two fixtures, that is most likely what's going on to happen. Now let's go to our forwards. In front of post nimeka Joao Pedro. Enough has been said about this. Again, they have a good fixture. They are facing Wolves away. Na Wolves ndio walichapanga 6-0. I think in January, February, March, April. I think it's April. Actually, in April when they bet Wolves 6-0 at their own stadium. So Wolves can be a little bit shaky. I don't know why Manu ilifanya Wolves ikae kama ni team kubwa, but this looks positive from these guys. I think I would retain Joao Pedro over long term over Mitoma. He's also playing at number 10 CAM, which is also good for him. Then I have Watkins. Now hii position ya Watkins ni yenye unaweza fill up watu kama Wilson ama Isak kama mnaendea Isak. Pia mnaweza endea this Chelsea guy. Let me go to this frame. Nicholas Jackson. So I think hizi ni positions zenye na consider in the forthcoming future, because you can see Watkins wanacheza at home. They are hosting Everton. If Aston Villa perform to their standards of last season, I think this wanaweza cheza vizuri sana. So they're playing Everton at home, then Burnley away, then Liverpool away, and then Crystal Palace at home. So that for the next 4 fixtures doesn't look bad for Aston Villa. Now on this other side, Jackson, if you watch the game, he got some chances, he got really close, so you can't really write off this team ama his performance based on that nini. I don't think anyone has done that. I think si wote ni wajanje. Naona hapa ana face West Ham away, and then Luton at home, then Nottingham away, then Bournemouth away. This looks promising from a Chelsea perspective and also from a FPL perspective, as I also said earlier in this video that Chilwell and a Chelsea defender could also make sense. So I think these are some of the things that you could consider. The fixtures look really good. Na katikati niko na Haalandinho facing Newcastle. Oh bro, nilisahau kuongea kuhusu Rodri. Okay, it's okay. And we also have Haaland. I think it's a bit self-explanatory. Kama uli write off Haaland for the first fixture, and I'm talking about you, Djay. Just go to the last video, the first 10 seconds. Djay, niwe nasemea uli count Haaland out na venye squad yako ili perform poa sana, ukeka Haaland hata ukumweka kwa game, najua unamnunua ASAP. I'm not sure about how they perform against Newcastle. Inakaa kwa game kama hii yenye wamecheza na Sevilla jana. Could be tough game. Inaweza kuwa ni ile game inahitaji kama wewe ni Djay ukaptain mtu si Haaland. I'm not really sure about my decision, but niko willing kuweka captaincy onto someone else mwenye anakaa kona a good fixture na mwenye naweza pata around 20 points with the captaincy. So what I've said for Haaland, ina ensue for Rodrigo on this position. That's why I also have him in my midfield, primarily because I can't play Trossard ni kama siko sure, ni kama minutes zenye napewa or generally kuna better players unaweza weka in the place for Trossard. As I talked about in the previous video, you could scout Newcastle midfielder Tonali. You could also scout Barnes or Anthony Gordon, the boy who went there from Everton. Or wanaweza kuwa better alternatives if you have a Trossard type, ama kama ujisikii na Mitoma pia unaweza jump ship, put one of these guys, you could get something out of them. So I said I'd do some changes right here. Obviously nitatoa Mings, as I said nitatoa Mings cause any position haitachezewa. Though for this guy that I want to put in, the one that I talked about in the other video, which is Henry is facing Fulham, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth and Newcastle. Bro, hata sifikiri mara mbili namweka kwa kikosi immediately. Nilikuwa nataka kumweka hii position ya Ben Mee, but Ben Mee doesn't look like an injury. It's just something that he needs to get over. He could be back, so I'll just give him time. But for now, I'll add Henry into my squad, and then let's make this transfer. Confirm the transfers, and then nitacheza na his squad. Now I'm going to swap Gabriel for Henry, because Gabriel siko sure of the play time. Na pia Crystal Palace ati ni team rahisi ati wanaenda shughuli teke hapana. Itabidi wa do some work. So as it stands hivi, I could consider putting the captaincy on someone like Trent. I hope this doesn't look like emotions speaking here, but it doesn't look like a bad fixture. They are facing Bournemouth. Of course, in football, anything could happen. Inaweza isha 2-2, inaweza isha 1-1, then inaweza isha draw. But singe recommend you get fixated on putting your captaincy on Haaland. Though anytime nime count Haaland out, Ubrali nionyesha siwezi fanya hizo story. But I can see he has Sheffield, Fulham, West Ham, Nottingham. Hizi zinakaa games sure bet za captain. Now that they are facing Newcastle, try to spread the captaincy. If not Trent, even Watkins doesn't look bad. You can get a 7. Akipata a 7, you need 14 at the lowest. It could be higher, could be low, but captain wako akianguka sana uko messed, and that's not the case. So the fact that Watkins has a home fixture against Everton also looks good. He's on penalties, which is also looking positive. So in terms of captaincy, I can't assure what I'll play as my captaincy, but generally this will be my team for next game week number 2. Anyway, tutarudi hapa na tutaongelea hii story. Review the game week, how it goes or how it went from the present future. Today discuss, and we'll get back here and review what's happening. So tupatane on the other video. Peace. Alafu before I do that, pia nimeweka link hapo on the description box. You guys can feel free to join this FPL points based group. Pia nitakuwa na go through your squads time to time. It's also a good way to engage with you guys, and for you guys to also engage with me on this little platform. Again, wase wako kwa hii beer bongs, wastu wako kwa hii beer bongs, pia I want to make sure the rest, kama kuna wenye hawaja join, to make sure wa join hapa, such that if you're also in this group, you can check out their squads real time as things are happening. So tuonane on the next video. Peace.